All right, guys, now this is what we're here for our summer reading, to start those skills and get us having those great responses and replies back and forth with our classmates. So I know you're probably thinking, what is she expecting and how does this look? And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. My expectations for the steps to respond to the questions and the steps that you're going to take to reply to those two classmates. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to show you exactly what we're talking about. All right, so I am going to go to our Google Classroom, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose 6th grade. And I'm going to choose the first question that my wonderful 6th graders are going to see, and this is what it's going to look like. So your week 1 question, question 1, chapters 1 through 3 says, what is the most important thing you learn about Percy in chapter 1? And how does the author show this about Percy? So there's 2 questions, and you're going to see this oftentimes where there's multiple things you have to address, and you need to make sure to address them fully in all parts. So there are 3 things I want you to remember, and I'll put it in the email below this video, and how to make sure that you are fully addressing the question. And so that you know that you are not using any fragments and things that are going to divert you from being able to fully address the question, and make sure that you are practicing what we will be utilizing as step 1 at the beginning of the year with our questions. So step 1, you need to restate the question and answer form. And there are 2 here, which means you're going to need to restate 2 questions and answer form. First one, what is the most important thing you learn about Percy in chapter 1? There are various ways to restate this, and as long as you do it, it does not matter to me how you go about doing it. You could simply say, the most important thing you learn about Percy in chapter 1 is, and that's one way of doing it. You could start from the end. In chapter 1, the most important thing you learn about Percy is, so that's step 1, restating the question. Step 2, you've got to add your answer. So the most important thing you learn about Percy in chapter 1 is blank. You got to add that answer, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to sway you in how you're going to respond to this. So step 1, restate the question and answer form. Step 2, add your answer to the end of it to make it a complete sentence. And step 3, explain yourself. What made you think that? What happened in the plot? What happened in the novel that made you think that that was the most important thing that you learned about him? So step 2, step 3, explain yourself. So restate the question and answer form. You're going to hear me say that so much at the beginning of the year, so let's get it down now. You need to add your answer to that restated question and answer form. And then step 3, explain your answer. Support it. Why? Ask yourself why, because there's a reason that you came up with the answer, and you got to add that as step 3. So guess what? You've got 2 steps or 2 questions here, which means you need to do it twice. How does the author show this about Percy? The author shows this about Percy. Restate your question and answer form. So the author shows this about Percy by yada, yada, yada. How do you know that? Explain. What made you think that? Explain. Restate, add answer, explain. And that is how you're going to do every single discussion, question, answer. And again, as always, if there are any questions about expectations, please email me. But if you just remember those 3 steps, restate, add answer, explain. I know it's getting redundant, but you need to restate the question answer form, add your answer to the end of it to make it a complete response, complete sentence answer, and then you must always explain yourself, because there was a reason you thought that. There's a reason you came up with that answer, and you gotta put it in your response. So that is my expectation for your response questions. Sometimes there's one question in a question, sometimes there's multiple. Address them all. Do not forget that. All right, so what are my expectations when it comes to how you are going to address your classmates? And again, we'll take a look at the same question, because this is something that, depending on your opinion, depending on how you've read something, we may have various opinions, and that is okay. I will always tell you guys that essentially there's not necessarily a wrong answer, because if you can fully explain it and you can support it, you're going to be right. That is the great thing about this area, is that it can be very subjective as long as you can support your opinion, you can support what you read. So I'm going to also put this in the email, but one of the things that I wanted to show you guys was the document that you're going to be utilizing when responding to your classmates. So it should be the very first thing because it was the last thing that I created. I'm just waiting on the slow internet. Yay. All right, so this document is going to be a link right under the video so that you can take a look at it, you can access it. Because like I said in that welcome video, everything we're doing now, the skills we're doing now are going to be very purposeful when it comes to the beginning of the year, because we are going to take this ability to reply constructively, these meaningful conversations constructively, into actual discussions in the classroom. And you've got to get this down because this is how we have such rich academic conversations. It's by understanding the use of these stems, the use of these ideas in order to transition over to it verbally. So you're going to see this document, and this is how you are going to reply to your classmates. We know in that first question that I just showed you that people may see something most important very differently. They may choose different events, different incidences that happen. They may even choose the same incident, but they may choose to show how the author showed it very differently. And it's totally up to you as long as you can support it. And this is where making meaningful conversation starters come into play. I'm not going to read this whole thing. That's why I'm providing it to you. But there are 3 main ways that you're going to respond constructively to a classmate's post. No, because, yes, and yes, but. And what you will see is, obviously, if you completely do not agree and you see it very differently, you're going to tell them no, and you're going to explain your reasoning. You're going to tell them why you disagree or you see it differently. There might be an instant that, oh my gosh, you totally agree. However, you also see an additional thing that supports it. That's where you use yes and. However, there might be a situation where they agree with you, but they see something a little differently. That's the yes, but. And that is as simple as it gets, guys. You're going to make sure you use these starters. No, because, yes, and yes, but. So take the time to familiarize yourself with these 3 ways that you're going to constructively respond to your classmates, because I want to see these used and I want you to do so effectively. So it's very similar. You're going to be telling them no, yes, and yes, but. You're going to give your answer and you're going to explain yourself. There's always those steps. You got to restate, you've got to add your answer, and you've got to explain yourself. So like I said in the previous one, let me go ahead and stop this. I will be providing this document below this video so that you can save it, have it at all times, refer to it. But this is all for a bigger purpose, getting into that curriculum. So the more you can get into the habit of responding with your 3 steps and replying with your 3 steps, essentially, you are going to be so ready to rock conversations. You're going to be so ready to get into text evidence and analysis. And this part, as long as you're mastering this throughout the summer, oh my gosh, it's going to be such rich conversations right off the bat. And I'm going to be so excited to share with you guys. So as always, if there are any questions about your responses and replies, let me know. I'll be checking that email throughout the week to make sure that we get started strong. And I'm so excited to start seeing you guys utilize these skills, utilize these tools, and see how much we grow over the summer to become amazing conversationists when we have these discussions, and being able to think more critically because we have these little bitty skills, these little things that we're doing ahead of time. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day, and look out for that last video when it comes to your response letter next. All right, I hope you